Season's greetings, industrialists! I'm Mark, a producer on Gilded Destiny. Yet another year has come and gone, and as we wrap up 2025, I hope this year has been as gilded, merry, and industrious for you as it has been for us at Aquila Interactive. In this dev diary, we will reflect on what has been accomplished this year on Gilded Destiny. In 2025, both Gilded Destiny and Aquila have had several significant developments. First, many of you watching are already aware of Gilded Destiny's publishing partnership with Hooded Horse. This partnership will allow Aquila Interactive to remain focused on delivering the deep, immersive, and ambitious gameplay we have always envisioned, while reaching ever more players and industrialists across the globe. Also, we have released the closed alpha of Gilded Destiny to our backers on Kickstarter and Modian. We've received great feedback and suggestions from them, and look forward to sharing the game with a wider audience soon. And before we begin some of the updates on Gilded Destiny, I want to express my gratitude on behalf of everyone at Aquila to all of you for being part of our growing community over the last year. From followers on social media, active members of our Discord, content creators we have worked with, our backers on Kickstarter and Modian, and the over 1,000 closed alpha testers who have provided us valuable feedback. Most of all, I want to personally thank everyone at Aquila for making it a productive and enjoyable year. Aquila has grown significantly since this time last year. We've welcomed new designers, programmers, technical designers, content designers, artists, and quality analysts, and we have built our global publishing and marketing team. To all of my fellow Aquila Interactive clerks, artisans, intellectuals, capitalists, bureaucrats, factory workers, soldiers, and aristocrats, thank you. Now, without any further ado, grab some eggnog, mince pies, and maybe open a present under your tree, while I highlight some of the progress we have made this year and what we have our sights set on going forward. First, I want to start by giving a quick sneak peek at an exciting feature that we plan to implement in 2026 that we know is going to be very important to grand strategy gamers, the military. We have teased the military UI and army units a bit in recent dev diaries, and plan to share more soon in a dedicated dev diary. And specifically regarding the Navy system, a lot of design work has been done already, but we're still refining the design and plan to implement soon. While we can't show too much in the game at the moment, I can say that the Navy system will largely follow the same pattern and design we use for land-based units. Here, you can see how the military UI appears in the game. So you can imagine that instead of various types of army units, you might see various naval units in their place. So be sure to stay tuned for updates about navies in Gilded Destiny. Behind the scenes, our design teams are working tirelessly on bringing Gilded Destiny's economy to life through a major rework that we hope will bring a never-before-seen depth to grand strategy economics. Significant work has been done on this in 2025, and we plan to begin implementation into the game soon. We look forward to sharing more with you in a future dev diary. We recently discussed updates to the leader system, focusing on our new art style, animations, modding, and the importance of leaders in the game. Since the publishing of that dev diary a few months ago, we have finalized a few more leader portraits, with many more still on the way. Leaders will be the men and women you appoint to lead important positions in your country, including roles in government, research, and the military, including both Army and Navy. Whether you're interested in managing your Navy, or Army, or economy, you'll be checking the HUD quite a bit. The HUD is the bar at the top of the screen and will give you relevant and up-to-date information about the game. And as one of the most visible parts of the UI, we did our best to ensure that the HUD looks good and is easy to interact with. In essence, the HUD aims to provide you with all the information you will need to manage your country and make decisions in the game, so be sure to check out the dev diary if you haven't already. Even since the HUD dev diary in March, we have updated quite a few things. A few examples include: the menu buttons on the left have been incorporated into the top bar as a row of buttons at the top. The notification icons have a new style and more can be displayed at a time. The warning or hint icons in the third row of the HUD are now clickable buttons when they are active. And the icons for money, authority, and influence have all been updated. Another prominently visible part of the main UI is our Map Modes panel, so let's check that out next. A major update to Gilded Destiny over the last year has been the design and implementation of map modes. The main idea of the Map Modes UI is to allow players to toggle views without interrupting gameplay. In the default Map Modes UI, you will see 8 tabs representing different layers at a time. Depending on what you are focused on at the moment in the game, you can choose multiple different map modes. As an example, let's take a look at the Culture and Religion map modes, which visually represent pop data on the map. You can see that cultures and religions can cross national borders and can vary from province to province within a country. You might suspect that this involves a lot of data on individual population groups. So let's take a quick look at a unique tool that one of our devs created this year to help with the input of population data. The Pop Automation tool was designed and implemented to help our designers fill buildings proportionally according to the distribution of cultures and religions in a province. The tool takes the ability of certain cultures and religions to work certain jobs into consideration. For example, Irish and Catholic pops could only work lower-class jobs in England. Similarly, Scottish Protestant pops could work lower and middle-class jobs in England, but they were excluded from the aristocracy. The tool allowed for this kind of detail in every province across the world, while also greatly decreasing the overall workload. Jumping now to another map mode, we have Resource Points, which shows you the exact location of resources on the Gilded Globe. The Resource Point system was designed and implemented over the last year to bring the hex map to life, allowing players to find resource deposits on the hex map via the Resource Points map mode, and then extract them with buildings they place on top of the deposit. Gilded Destiny offers a unique opportunity for more granular detail than other grand strategy games. This means we don't just tell you a resource exists in a province, we show you its actual, true location. Another key and unique aspect of the Resource Point system is our design philosophy of scarcity and specialization. For example, during this period, Sicily was the #1 source of sulfur, providing more than 90% of the world's demand until the end of the century. This specialization highlights the importance of individual provinces in the game. In the game design, we weigh gameplay balance against the fact that part of the fantasy of this period stems from these resource monopolies. In our game design philosophy, we want to cater to these hyper-specialized expectations where every country, every province has a specific part to play in the global economy. So if you're out of sulfur, perhaps a diplomatic agreement, vassalization, or even the conquest of Sicily might be the most efficient way to satisfy your demand. Speaking of constructing buildings on top of resource deposits, Gilded Destiny has a variety of buildings that you can construct and interact with. In 2025, our designers have implemented a major revamp of building-related interfaces, including the Construction UI and the Buildings UI. Importantly, we can now build rural and city buildings in the same place. Also, the Construction UI now supports new construction as well as upgrades and demolition, plus a new bulk upgrade option and clearer build time info. The Buildings UI now shows more information at a glance that will clearly show how each building operates, displaying the current revenue performance, workforce status, and production status. Finally, we have streamlined building ownership in the game. Previously, buildings owned by capitalists and those owned by the state were separate buildings. Now, we have consolidated varying ownership types into one building, where different stakeholders can own shares. For example, a cement factory that is level 15 might have 10 shares owned by capitalists and 5 owned by the state. So stay tuned for more updates in a future dev diary. We have also updated the country, province, and city UI panels. You've likely seen these in previous dev diaries already. Our artists have recently created illustrations representing the terrain of various climate zones for the province UI and illustrations for the city UI, depicting cities in different regions of the world. These new designs aim to ensure that all the information you need is easily accessible. In general, you have several different tabs that will show specific information about your pops, the economy, your government, and so on. One exciting feature to keep an eye out for in future builds of the game, if you're an alpha tester, or in future dev diaries, if you're otherwise anxiously awaiting the game, is the implementation of sound effects. Over the last year, we collaborated with the composer for Gilded Destiny's soundtrack to create a first set of sound effects for major UI interactions and game events. Behind the scenes, a lot of work has been done to increase the power and scope of our event editor, which will be released to players as a modding tool, of course. In 2025, major event design work has been done for Prussia and the Qing Empire, and we've already begun design work for France, the UK, and the US. We also have more changes planned for the new year. Over the course of 2025, we have been continuously adding more details of expenditure and income to give you a clearer picture of what is happening in your country's economy. We have made great progress here, but this is still a work in progress. We look forward to sharing more details with you in a future dev diary on the finance UI. Several economic and political AI behaviors were added, and the AI's military performance was optimized. For example, some of the behaviors added or optimized were government and military leader management, province edict management, construction of state-owned buildings, management of finances and taxation, and much more. In a recent dev diary, we discussed our progress on political parties, including enacting policies, leading political parties, holding elections, maximizing party attractiveness, forming governments, adopting political stances, and making compromises to stay in power. And finally, in our last dev diary, we discussed how rebellions have been modeled in Gilded Destiny, including how government support and pop happiness affect public unrest, how different kinds of government can deal with growing unrest, and what happens when the populace breaks out in open rebellion. That's probably a good note to wrap up this dev diary, with wrapping paper and a bow, of course. We hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, let it snow. As the season of joy and giving is upon us, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you can stay warm and cozy watching Gilded Destiny dev diaries over the holidays. And if you haven't already, add Gilded Destiny to your Steam Christmas wishlist, and be sure to check it twice. Until our paths converge once more, we bid thee farewell with tidings of comfort and joy, and may your destiny shine as brightly as the gilded star atop your tree.